welcome once again to the Club Racing UK podcast, live from each other's living rooms because it's still a bit dangerous out there. Today, I brought the tin opener because we're going to open a can of worms or two. I'm here today with Nick Holmes and Stefan Marsh once again. Evening, lads. How are we all doing?
Good evening, Rob. Steph, how are we doing? Yeah, good. Oh, Steph.
Oh, no. Stefan's internet. And we have the first victim of the night, Stefan Marsh. Can you hear us, mate? You all good?
He's a bit there or not. Oh,
yeah, he's a bit statue. Steph, can you hear us, mate?
Steph. No, he can't. He's gone.
Oh, no, he can't. He's disappeared.
It's just us then, mate.
Absolutely abysmal. We'll have to sack him. Mario Neofitu says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Mario. Good evening, everyone else that's watching on the live stream. Don't forget, after every episode, this will be going out on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and the like for you guys to listen at your own leisure, as well as Club Racing UK, My Supercar, and the following. So today, we are going to open the proverbial can of worms and how cost-effective you can get motorsport. We did say cheap initially, and I got my wrist slapped by several people.
Yeah,
you can't say it, can you?
Motorsport is not cheap.
No, it's not.
It can be cheaper than it's promoted, and everyone does. You know, you see it all the time. People are like, "Oh, motorsport's an exclusive club. It's too expensive. No, you can't do it. You can do it, but you need some money. I mean, I can do it. I've been up to my eyes in debt and all sorts. So it is possible. Bit of hard graft, setting out set plans and things like that. It is possible.
Can I just say as well, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the podcast, I want to dedicate this podcast to Emily Holmes because she's had to put up with poor Nicholas for years, and she went and married him, and now she's letting him do the podcast on their anniversary. So congratulations, Nick. Congratulations, Emily. Okay, guys. So
I'm missing out on Spanish tapas right now.
Oh no! Well,
do you make it?
I'm sure they'll leave you some behind.
We're not missing either.
So we've got Stefan back. So that's us. We were just briefing everyone, Stefan, on the proverbial can of worms that is cost-effective and motorsport. They don't really go together. And I'll tell you what, the prep for this show is the most I've ever done. And then it turned into a disaster because I lost a lot and had to do it again with Nick's help. So what we're doing today, we're actually focusing on going and buying cars that are already built or second-hand previously raced. We're not covering arriving drives. We're going to do that in another episode. I have been speaking, suggesting this with Carl Graves. He's very interested in talking about arrive and drive. Obviously, you've got Focus Cup, which is a distinct sort of arrive and drive only series. I also want to run through some comments from episode 3. That was with the Modified 4 series and Paul Neville. Mario Neofitu, who's also watching this evening, enjoyed the podcast. Loved having the legend that is Paul Neville on the show, who can hold his own in a Mark II. I've watched him race that, and he definitely can. Unfortunately, Nick, his first car was also a Vauxhall, so he's in the club with yourself, and he hated it.
My first car was a Ford, so
yeah, but you kind of race a Vauxhall now as well as a Ford. He did make a good point about club racing gate prices. They do scare people off. We are going to cover that in another episode.
Yeah.
And already, chaps, Phil Neal is watching. Hello, Phil. He says, yo, I can't say the next line because it's before 9 o'clock.
Come on, Phil. Be
The MR2 Championship, Ben Rose suggested it is up there and most cost effective. When we were working all this out, basically the way I've done it today is I've taken some basic costs. I haven't taken the cost of the car into account yet unless there was a tie break. But literally the cost of having the car and just going registering for the championship, paying an entry fee for one weekend, a set of pads, set of tyres and fuel, and go and race in one weekend. And then basically divided it, that cost that I found out, by how many minutes of racing you get. So what you get is a value of so many pounds per minute you're on track.
Yeah.
It's the fairest way I could do it.
Yeah.
I feel. So that's the way we're going to do things today. But back to the comments. Jonathan Bevan commented on the CMMC. He enjoyed that. They have got split grids now. They were combined at first, but he quite correctly said that the CMMC have got split grids. Fantastic racing all the way down. Paul Harvey love the show as usual from the G&M boys. So a big shout out to them. Cheers for listening, guys.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, G&M boys.
Andy Pipe loves the Ford as well. He's got an immaculate Mark 1 Escort that used to race Quave's Southeast saloons. I believe he's out in the modified Fords this year and next year. Adam Reed asked why Paul wasn't in his race suit. I think he just had more style than us lot.
I think he missed the memo on that one, didn't he?
he missed the memo on it. Bless him.
I don't think he believed us.
I don't think he did believe us. He must have thought it was a practical joke.
Anyone would think we're wind-up merchants.
Yeah, they obviously haven't spent time with us at a race meeting, have they?
What are you drinking, Nick?
What?
Drinking?
Whiskey and Coke. It's my anniversary. That's my anniversary.
Fair play, mate. Why not? I hope you got a tipple for the missus as well. I hope she's not in there drinking water.
What?
I hope you got a drink for the missus as well. You're not in there drinking water.
No, she's put an eyelid to bed.
Okay, last of the comments. So Jamie Goff, he can't wait to watch. And he can't wait for us all to be back out racing. Everyone shares the same feeling at the moment. I don't know about you guys. It isn't far away. And we're going to go on to that with the news. Finally, the last comment. Paul Rice is really playing with fire here. He said, "You're more than welcome to rent his 206 Cup car." I think, going by that comment, he's got quite a few friends in the panel beating business. So, Nick, you're more than welcome, mate.
Look, he just knows a fast, stylish driver when he sees one.
If you find him, let us know.
Oh.
Okay, with that, we move on to the news. In 2 weeks...
Is it the Dacia Sandero?
Not this week.
No, okay.
We move on to the news. We're not sat on the stylish chairs around the glass table and the engine block, but in the past 2 weeks since episode 3, a hell of a lot has happened. Obviously, the COVID situation has developed. Boris has decided to send everyone's kids to school and to open everything up again.
And to durdle door on our beaches down this end of the country.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better, shall we, chaps? I was quite disgusted.
Yeah, we won't talk about it.
Let's concentrate on club racing news. Oh, Chris Moen says, "Good evening, chaps. How are we doing, Chris? I hope you're well."
Good evening, Chris.
That's the only thing we will dip into your comments throughout the show, so please send them in. Absolutely fantastic. It's great that you guys are watching. So we move on to the news. One thing that I missed off a couple of weeks ago, the Balk Max 5 Championship has actually become the Mazda Motorsport Club for all racing Mazdas. They've got classes for the Mark 1, Mark 3 and Mark 4 MX-5s. They've got a class for the RX-8 and they've got a modified class for any Mazda going.
Awesome.
So as far as I've checked, I haven't checked the BARC website today. All offices have been closed until June the 1st, which is today. So Buck, I'm sure in the next week or so, will be making sure that they're getting their affairs in order in terms of other calendars in the club racing scene. I know Toka have more or less got theirs sewn up and sorted, haven't they? So
still making changes now, though. Did you see the layout change for BTCC?
I did see that earlier. So the Grand Prix Brands meeting is going to be run sort of middle of the summer, which would be quite a nice change.
We're gonna end on Brands Indy. What could possibly go wrong there?
Exactly. The BRSCC got very, very busy and they released a lot of dates. And again, we say this with a giant asterisk above, if I could say it, a giant asterisk above everything because it's such a unique situation. We could go to a second wave. It all could go away. It's all changing as we go. But provisionally, they've got dates July 18th at Alton Park, August 1st and 2nd at Cadwell, August 8th at Snetterton, August 22nd, 23rd at Thruxton, at Anglesey, Silverstone National, September 12th and 13th, Brands Indy, September 26th, 27th, Alton Park in October, as well as Donington and Brands Hatch Indy for the Formula Ford Festival and Snetterton. So they've got lots of dates in there. They're going to cram it full of championships and basically try and make as much of this half of the season as possible, which is all good.
Yeah.
Castle Combe have done the same. They normally run with a one-race format. They've got dates, one date in July, 2 in August, 1 in September. The Autumn Classic stays, and they've got a final October date. So all championships, as far as I'm aware, are going to get 2 races per weekend instead of 1. But at 350 quid from when I was finding out, that's still good value racing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a shame with Castle Combe. They always have big crowds of people coming to watch the local racing. Obviously, everything's now behind closed doors. MSV have started to confirm events, and we found out this week, chaps, the 12 hours on for the Enduro KA.
Yes! 12 hours. Woo! I'm going to do that one as well.
Get racing.
Yes. Let's get racing.
I was going to ask how you guys feel about that, but I think you've just made it pretty obvious. Are you excited?
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I'm excited to go racing, but at the same time, it's not going to be like it used to be.
No.
I just hope that doesn't detract from the racing. Obviously, the big social element. So I kind of hope. Obviously, we're going to be racing around the track with other competitors. It's going to be fun, but yeah, I worry because we're going to be one of the first guys to race, or one of the first teams, and one of the first series to race, that we are going to be literally watched from all angles. So I think it's going to be a bit of a guinea pig exercise, but you know,
it is a little bit. I mean,
it's got to start somewhere, and someone's got to take that. So just happens to be the MSV and Enduro KA as well. So
yeah, Time Attack also confirmed that they're going ahead 11th of July. So
yeah.
I've spoken to Phil and Ben, a few people. You know, speaking to Phil, obviously involved with Solar Motorsport. I think there's a few that are potentially not going as they feel it's a bit too soon. It's going to be one of those. No matter what race series you're in, it's going to be whoever wants to go will go. Whoever just thinks, you know, whether they're vulnerable or not, they're just going to hold back. It's as simple as that.
I mean, I've seen comments. People have written their season off, so there's no point. They'll save the money this year and just have a proper race next year. You know, some people, I have seen people writing it off like that. So
yeah,
wait and see, won't we?
Maxine Nichols has commented already. She can't wait to get out in the MR2 Championship with the 750 Motor Club. Fantastic,
awesome.
Fantastic. Don't forget, when you guys do go out there, guys, send your content in, show us your racing. I know it's going to be a bit difficult when you stood there all in PPE next to your race car, but we'll try and work out who it is. Ben Rowe is hoping to get a 4th of July birthday present by getting to go racing, which is good. And Paul Rice has said Track Attack are a go, which again, fantastic.
Yeah. I spoke to Stuart Kai earlier as well. Then the classic touring cars will be at Cadwell Park, I believe, as well on that same weekend. So,
yeah, that's next on the list. I've got some other news that's come up from the Classic Touring Car Racing Club, the Pre-03 Modified Touring Car Championship. AJ Owen is now the new coordinator for the series. Colin Gibbons has stood down that from role, but that's only because he was the competition secretary. So what he's doing, he had 2 roles there. He needs to concentrate more, try and get the bloody words out, on the competition secretary overall role. So he's relinquished that, and AJ Owen is now the Pre-03 coordinator for that series. So if you are interested, AJ Owen is your man to talk to.
Yeah, it's a good chat as well. Good choice, that.
Fantastic. Maxine Nichols vlogged her last season in the MR2 Championship. We'll have to check that out, Maxine. Definitely.
Send it in. Send us a link. We'll get that in.
Fantastic. Okay, chaps. Time to get the tin opener out. We start off.
This is going to be a long one.
Well, it starts off. One day we all decided we wanted to go racing, did we not?
Yeah.
We did.
What is the first thing you hear as soon as you mention motorsport?
Money.
Exactly.
Always money.
However, right, we've got some more comments coming in. I'm going to keep them towards the end of the episode. Yep. So, okay, we'll go with that. Paul Rice has got more gin, though. Slow down, Paul. Just slow down. There's more. There's more podcasts to come. Don't worry about it. Just hold the gin back. We start off with actually getting your license. I did a bit of sleuthing just around all the local sort of racing schools and places that you get it done. So the racing school, one close to your heart, Nick.
Yep, that's exactly what I did mine too.
Yeah,
so and Mel as well.
Yeah, so you could do your ARDS course there for 300 quid. Yep. Castle Combe is 320. Silverstone's 299 for the test.
Yeah.
That's where I got mine done, actually. I did my arts when they were building the Silverstone Wing. It was still a building site. MSVR is £169 to £259, but it depends on the circuit.
Yeah.
So obviously,
that's where Steffi Boy did his.
Yeah, you did yours at Brands, didn't you, Steph?
Yeah, I did mine at Brands. I can't remember how much I paid because I had my medical included with it. So I think it was 300 and something. But yeah, done at Brands. Good section of cars to drive. So.
Yeah, good selection of cars. You obviously had your supplements in the morning, which annoyed your doctor. That caffeine Red Bull kicking in. That was a good story.
Yeah, that didn't really help.
That did make me chuckle, bless. Knockhill is £325 if you're going north of the border. BARC Thruxton is 310. The one thing I've noticed as well when I was looking at this, guys, the junior course, it's not just at Thruxton, it's at a few others. The junior course is nearly £600.
It's going to be insurance based, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I'm guessing they would have to do some sort of. Do they have to do any tutoring or instruction first?
Yeah.
Potentially.
More in depth.
Potentially. Yeah. But yeah, it's one thing that kind of opened the eyes as to Christ. Croft is £275, so that actually works out, unless you're going to an MSVR circuit where it's quite cheap at 169. Of all the other sort of circuits and racing schools across the country, Croft is working out the cheapest at £275. So if you are in the sort of Darlington area, maybe pop in there and do your arts test. Why not?
Yeah.
Anglesey is £210 and Goodwood is £389. But I think they're a bit more exclusive. They do the odd track day, but I don't think they're as active as other circuits. Understand?
No, they're not. No. But that's a good range. I mean, obviously that's your first port of call, isn't it? If you want to go racing, is doing your odds. Obviously, coming to clubracinguk.co.uk first to find out this information and how you go racing. But yeah, obviously you need to do your test first. Make sure you're applicable to go on track. Know your flags. Do a little multi-choice question, and then do a little practical in the afternoon. So, or morning, whichever way around it goes. So,
can you remember what instructor you had for your ARDS tests?
I had Pete. I had Pete Edwards from the motorsport school, out in a little Clio 200.
Oh, fair play. I think mine was an RS McGann. It was 2011 I did it, so it was the RS McGann at the time, and I had Charlie Hollings, the GT driver. He took me out.
Nice.
And that was quite good. Stefan, you can't remember, can you, by that look?
It was a nice lad, and I know he was a Club Racing UK fan. I can't remember his name though, but
he was a winner.
If he's watching, make a comment. I'll say thanks again. But I had great fun on the Peugeot for the first time ever. So
Eugenie Smith has commented, these current prices. I went to Goodwood last year because it was the cheapest. The way I did it, I went onto the ARDS Racing School, who sent me a link to all of the current ARDS places. I went to their website, looked through as much information as I could, delved into it to try and get the cheapest price, and that's what I found. If I have put the wrong price up, I apologise, but that's what came up on the website. So it could well be that they've listed a price for the test and tuition and anything else in a package, and you can possibly get cheaper on the day. But
that could be this year's price as well, with everything that's happened. Maybe it may have been cheaper last year before. So
yeah, absolutely. Mario says the best way to make a small fortune is to start with a big fortune and then go motor racing. You are not wrong there.
I'm going to remember that one. That's a good one.
David Garside commented on the junior course. He says junior is one-to-one teaching also. So
okay. So you're paying for the instructor as well.
Yeah. So yeah, you're more or less paying for sort of a more intense course. Rob Gaffney commented, and this is referring back to our new segment when we're going racing in the 12 hours. Rob Gaffney has asked a question: how are you guys going to make sure you comply with the COVID and MS UK guidelines during the Enduro KA 12 hours?
I guess we're going to learn on the job, aren't we? So it's
we're going to have to wait for all the information to come out. We haven't
it's
let it all come through yet and what they want us to do, what they're expected. as soon as we all get that, we'll have to figure out exactly what we need PPE wise and distancing and all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those. I mean, I did reading through the guidelines that they set out about sharing cars, and they're going to allow an extra 30 seconds in a pit stop for you to disinfect everything. Obviously, with Matt getting in and out of the car, we're going to have to use about a minute, and that's before COVID came in. But we love you. We love you, really, Matt. Bless him. But it's going to be one of those. I mean, how policed? It's all new to everyone, even the officials. So, how policed are the pits? Is it going to be a case of you've got a minimum of a 2-minute pit stop? I know.
I think they would probably have to do something like that, because if you left it up to us, everyone's going to skip that because they're going to save as much time as they can in a pit stop. So to keep it safe and make people do it, they're going to have to put some sort of minimum pit stop time in. Otherwise, it just get abused, I'm sure. Not that we would do that, but others may.
What are you trying to say there, Stefan?
I think.
No, exactly. It's going to be a brand new thing for everyone when they turn up to the circuit, I'm sure.
That's it. We're going to be guinea pigs to it. You know, what's something that we'll do on the first weekend might not necessarily work. They'll adjust it to suit. You know, we saw the first track days running this last coming week, and I've since seen today statements going out of changes to how the track days are running. So that's what will happen is your first weekend will be learning, second weekend learning, adjustments will then come and will evolve. It'll be a learning process. It's certainly something you can't.
Yeah, I mean, I fully expect we'll have an A4 page worth when we go to the next episode. So we've got episode 5 in 2 weeks' time, as usual. So we're looking at the 15th of June, and I think we'll know by then, also coinciding with further sanctions nationwide being lifted.
The other thing is we're racing in a month. I don't think anyone else is racing earlier than the 4th of July. I mean, if you are, let us know. But it's obviously a month down the line. Things will change in that month, hopefully for the better, not for the worse. So, yeah, I mean, we've just got to play it by ear, haven't we? So
certainly a strange one. David Vardy is, well, that's a lot of whiskey glasses he's put on the comments box there. So I assume he is well oiled, sir. Andrew Butcher, Andrew Butcher and Simon Pendlebury say hello, guys. Simon Pendlebury's asking if your hair is grown, Nick.
Yeah. It's coming out the chin. It's coming out the chin.
Yeah, you put the miracle grow in the wrong place, mate. David Vardy's actually asked the question. He's coming from a rallying background, isn't he? It's looking very likely they won't be able to have co-drivers this year in rallying. That is quite strange to go rallying without a co-driver sat next to you.
Well, that's exactly it. That's one of the implications, isn't it? I mean, unless it's from the same household, he's going to have to train Bronya up to do some pace moves for him. Go on, B, get on it. But it's exactly it. I mean, there's tons of hurdles to go over. It's not just disinfecting your steering wheel on your race car. It's everything. So, but I mean, we've covered this. So,
because it comes. I think some things may change. I mean, you're in a full face helmet and you've got a balaclava on, and
yay! What, Steph?
But they're saying that you can stay in within 2 meters for 15-20 minutes. So it depends on how long the stage length is and all the rest of it. I mean, the person that says yes or no, obviously, but I'm sure they'll be thinking about it and trying to figure out a way of trying to make it work.
Paul Neville's asked, evening guys, have you heard via the Enduro K8 if Full Power Live will be a race-only event behind closed doors? I'll be honest, I think October is going to be the time when we find out properly where we stand with that. It's from a personal point of view, I think it'll be possibly a chance that there'll be a few spectators. But again, how do you police the social distancing aspect of it? It's going to be so different.
Like they do it door to door.
Yeah. Again, we come back to that.
I think they just open. Well, they just open the gates. I'm not even going to. No, don't explain. No, not
guys, let's not start with that. My God.
there's only so many cans of worms we have with us today, and that's not one we want to open.
I was going to say, we've opened the first couple of cans. Let's not take the piss here.
Yeah.
Phil Neal says the 24-hour series, I believe that's Creventech. I know he used to do a lot of work with them, has a mandatory 2-minute pit stop just as a good thing for safety in a separate refueling area, which is fair enough.
I know. Obviously, the situation's different. I know I spoke to Stuart Garland last year at MSD Live, and obviously the time pit stops, lots of series do it to make it fair. I know Enduro KA doesn't run that series, doesn't run that setup. I know he wasn't keen to run it either, but we'll obviously have to run something like it. But again, I'm speculating. There's no point speculating. It'll be different tomorrow. It'll be different on Thursday. It'll be different next week. We literally have to wait for guidelines to be issued, and we literally have to follow them on that weekend. It'll be different the following time we race as well, and after that. We've just got to be flexible. We've got to be flexible with it.
Carl's Grave has asked if Stefan is auditioning to be on the Poison comeback tour this year.
He is a poster boy, isn't he? Look at him.
Oh,
I've got a pretty face.
Pretty face.
I've got less hair on my face than you do.
I'm just a slob. What can I say? Carl Graves is watching. So good evening, Carl. Hope you're well. I will be in contact about that future podcast episode. I will be speaking to you about that. Yeah. So do not fear. My mum's been in contact. Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
Loved your pre-COVID six-pack picture that you put up last week. How are the six-packs going now? Seriously, how are you guys doing with your fitness? The only fitness I do is fit this whole cake in my mouth, Mother. You should know that.
That's my joke. It's my joke. You took my joke. To be honest, yeah. I mean, the fitness side of things, I've started, and then I stop, and then I start, and then I stop.
And you ate cake?
Yeah. I've already had 2 pieces of cake this evening before my dinner. So
it's almost as if people think that picture was photoshopped. I can't believe that.
I know.
Unreal.
Scandalous.
I worked for ages on photoshopping that together with me. Phil Lee has said, if it is Silverstone Club Racing meet, you won't need to police the spectators at all, as there's only 4 of you. Well, he's got a point.
Yeah, but that's something we're going to cover in a future podcast, isn't it? So
it's covered in a future podcast, but then when you have the opposite, you go to Castle Combe, like I said earlier, lots of spectators, and they're going to be hurting from that, bless them. Yeah. Andrew Butcher's going to be isolating in our pit. That's fair enough. Simon Pendlebury finally has said Nick is best friends with Joe Wick. He's the exercise bloke, isn't he? Yeah.
It was for 2 days.
I wasn't until half term, and then I gave up because.
Okay, guys, let's get back onto the topic. We're going to cover a bit of race.
We'll do some more questions in a minute.
We will do some more questions in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling this podcast is going to run on a bit. I don't mind, but the others might. So racewear. I looked at Hawk Motorsport. I went on their website. They're one of the partners of Club Racing UK. They've got a starter kit on there. It's all Sparco, code and helmet, and harness device. So it's helmet, suit, gloves, boots, and harness device. £895.
Bargain. You ain't going to beat that.
You're going to struggle to, aren't you?
Yeah.
Some larger retailers are just 520 odd plus for their helmet and hands.
That's just your helmet and just your hand. That's before you got any of the other gear you need. So,
and before, I know there's people out there. I mean, certainly I wear an open face helmet just through preference, because whenever I wear a closed face helmet, I'm like a fat kid shutting a lift. I'm like that. Being a chubby face bloke. Nick's lost it, but you know what I mean, mate. You know what I mean. So I also thought that the likes of, it worked well for Andy Rouse, Steve Soper, Dick Johnson back in the day. So, and they all look good in open face. So, was that the Mrs. Steve that's joined us?
Yeah. Just there.
Natalie, you could join the podcast if you bring the dog because he is cute.
No, this is a motorsport podcast. Do not bring a cute dog into it.
You'll probably see him run past in a minute. Don't worry about it.
Andrew Butcher has just said, be careful buying cheap because there are some substandard harnesses on the market. Yeah, I will make that point. I'm not talking about looking at Wish and looking at the £30 Chinese fakes. I'm
this
talking
is one
about,
point. Yeah, this is a point we're going to make, and
it's,
go on, Rob.
well,
Carry on.
it's one thing that certainly, because certainly when I turned up with an open face helmet, and there were people that turned around to me and went and said, "Well, how cheap is your head?" But all you've got to do is you've got to look on the back where it says Snell 2010, 2015. All of these helmets still comply with certain safety regulations.
They are built. They have to be built to a standard to be able to be sold under these, the standards they stick on them.
Yeah. So,
and one thing I was always told was, obviously, don't put a price on spend what you can on your kit. But it's a common misconception that you have to have the Gucciest stuff going, when in actual fact, as we're about to show you, you can still get on a racetrack with stuff half the price, effectively.
exactly. I mean, Simon Pendlebury says you can't put a price on safety. That's very true, but we're not saying that. We're saying you can get helmets, you can get equipment that complies with those safety standards to keep you safe, but you can get it at a reasonable budget, because at the end of the day, everyone has a budget.
Yeah,
and
of course they do.
We're still not talking about getting a helmet for 20 quid. 895 is still a considerable amount of money for what you're about to do. But as long as you look after it, you look after your safety kit well, it will look after you as well. And it conforms to those standards if you wear it properly, if you use it properly. In theory, this should be an issue. Ben Rushworth is watching this evening. Good evening, Ben Rushworth.
Good evening, Ben.
So I looked at Vulcan Motorsport as well. He's got some good Hans devices on there, ranging between 220 and 240. And HRX, our good friends at HRX, Callum, if you're watching, mate, I hope you're well. I will be in contact soon about that race suit. I'm getting a new race suit, chaps, just by the way. I'm a bit too fat for the old one, so I'm getting a custom.
Yawn, we don't care, Rob. Carry on.
Well, talking about that, Mario's just said, I spent £600 on a race suit and now I'm too fat to get into it. They do sell shoehorns on eBay, Mario. There is hope.
Yeah, he's going to start a PE class.
Crispin Williamson, if you've got a $5 head, buy a $5 helmet. Again, we're not saying that. We're saying everyone has a budget. Not everyone can afford to go out and buy a helmet that's $2,000.
Yeah.
If there's one from Coden that's 270, conforms to the FIA and to the MSA regs.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to get you're still going to get some decent kit that will protect you. Everyone has everyone has a budget. And with that, so HRX also offer the Tutor Race Bundle, which is suit, gloves, and boots. That's for £524, and that's good quality.
And that is from a custom selling. HRX make some amazing stuff, and for $525 to have the suits, gloves, and boots, very, very good price.
It'll probably cost a little bit extra just to get the custom fitting if that's what you want to do. And again, it's how much you want to spend. We're not telling you to go out and spend absolutely naffle on the safety equipment. We're saying you can make your budget fit.
If you love the shape that your Swede is, which is obviously something I consider, spend $2,000 on a carbon, helmet. Do that. If you can afford to do that, do that. But for the people that are listening that don't go racing yet, don't feel like you have to spend $2,000 on a helmet, or you can't go racing, because that's what we're getting at.
Still make sure you got all the correct standards and all the rest of it from reputable shops. Don't just go buying off of eBay, but you can do it at a lot lower cost.
But again, as Stefan is about to move on to a pet peeve of Stefan's, his own little section of the podcast, he's got some pet peeves he wants to share with everyone. You can shop around. You can, go to other reputable retailers apart from the big ones that are splashed everywhere. Yeah. Just quickly before we start that, Taylor Norton, he spent 1.3K for a suit, helmet, balaclava, and boots, and he's running on a tight budget. Absolutely understand that, Taylor. I absolutely understand that, mate. It's one of those.
It's probably not far off what I paid for my gear. I went to a big, well-known company, who are the people to go and speak to, apparently. And I bought all my gear in one lump, and Matt did the same, Steph did the same, but you don't have to. So I spent similar price.
You can shop around and get a better deal, essentially, for the similar products as well. Just quickly as well, David Garside, quite an experienced racer, has said the fit of the helmet is more important than the price.
Yeah.
So there we go.
You'll be comfortable, otherwise you get mega headaches with your helmet on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And with that, we move on to Stefan's pet peeves. It's rated 12A. Not so much of a rant. It's going to be a professional pet peeve and more of a comparison to cost-effective products from our partners at CR UK. So, okay, it's a little bit balanced and biased towards our partners. But at the end of the day, the only reason that Nick and Steph go out and do this is for you club racers out there. So remember that, guys. Take it away, Stefan.
We'll keep this open to discussion. It's not going to be a pet peeve or a slagging match or anything like that. We're just going to compare a few things and talk about it. So it's like, you've got the big main shop that Nick's mentioned. We do have a lot of other shops or businesses that are in the same boat as us. They like to go club racing. They're all part of it. They understand it, and they want to help that club racer. They want to be among us and making sure that we're doing it cost effective as well and not ripping us off. So, we start with a 6-point harness. It was a TRS Magnum ultralight one, I think. Can't quite remember now. But at a well-known motorsport retailer, it was £214.80. But with one of our partners on board, so you can get that exactly the same, delivered to your door for £179.
Yeah.
So, that's a massive saving.
That's a £35 saving. That's considerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is just it, isn't it? When we talk about budgets, and obviously everyone's on a tight budget, you're praying your car, there's your budget out the window. If you can save all this money on the stuff like Steph's about to list, you could save hundreds of pounds that you could use on tires, brakes, anything like that.
Yeah.
And this is it.
Definitely. We can move on to the next one. You got a fire extinguisher, Lifeline 4-litre 0-2000 the kit. Well known at a motorsport retailer, £246. With one of our partners, biggest saving is £237, still cheaper. But as I say, as a member, you can contact that company, and I expect to give you a much better deal than that. He won't advertise that, so that's something through us that you could probably get cheaper. But you could still save initially anyway. So, a little bit helps, isn't it?
Paul Rice has made a comment on the saving there. That's £35 for Nick's McDonald's meal.
I wouldn't have the patience to watch Nick eat £35 worth of McDonald's. That would take a week.
I do see, yeah.
That's a light snack for me.
Don't chew it. You kind of just numb it in your mouth until it's soggy and swallow.
Just inhale it. Just before you continue, Steph, Ben Rowe has commented, boots, gloves and suit can be bought second-hand quite safely. Plenty of people who try racing once or twice and find they can't afford it or are crap or whatever. We'll leave that for you guys to decide. I bought my first suit for £60. 3-layer Nomex, good brand, etc. Stuff can be done. Yeah, okay. I suppose the other side of that, if you do buy something second-hand, when we go to scrutineering, they do get looked at hard. And I think the scrutineers are trained and they know when to spot the fakes and the ones that they can look at and go, you know what, you're not going racing in that today, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's possible. It does come up, suits especially. You see race suits quite often. Obviously, you run a risk with secondhand. You don't know the life of it. I mean, that's my personal thing, especially as it is safety gear. I certainly wouldn't buy a secondhand helmet, for instance, if it's been dropped. You have no idea on that. So it's risky, but it can be done.
That's fair enough. Okay, Stefan, take it away.
We touched on it earlier, the hands device. I've singled it down to the Stand 21 Club Series 2 hands device. At a motorsport retailer, it's £274.80. With one of our partners, you can get that for £240. Again, that's like another what's that? 35
quid.
quid.
35 quid.
Well, yeah, 34 pound. Yeah, so we're mounting up a little bit. Entry level gloves, retailer for say budget. We say a budget glove. To be kind, is £68. At one of our partners that also do bespoke racewear. You can get them for £58.49. So, sometimes you can get a bit better quality if you just shop around. It's easy to go to these well-known places. You can fill your basket up and just bang it all, but you do a little bit of research and you can, you can do savings all over the place.
Thing is, and this is just a human race thing, isn't it? It's like, this is no different from when you do your weekly shop at Tesco's. You go to Tesco's, it's all in one place, it's convenient and it's easy. But if you went and did your weekly shop, but went to your local butcher, went to your local dairy or whatever, you'd save money. But it's not convenient, is it? So some people don't want to save money. It's convenience, isn't it? That's what it comes down to, I think.
That's fair enough. Mario Neofito has commented. He said you should never ever buy a second-hand helmet. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I wouldn't either. I think it's more on the suit side, the clothing side. You can possibly get a deal there. But yeah, it's definitely with a helmet. John Lord said make sure it's washed. I'm hoping he's not referring to washing your helmet. I was always taught you had to do that from a teenager anyway, but Paul Rice makes a good shot. You danced around that, Nick. I thought I was going to get you with that.
No.
Paul Rice has said, don't get your suit embroidered with a company that don't know how to do it. Again, I have heard stories of people getting caught out with that. If you get your suit embroidered and they haven't done it with a fireproof material, the scrutineers can tell what material it is. Technically, your suit is good for fuck all.
Yeah.
That's not good.
How to ruin a suit in 3 easy steps.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. And with that, Stefan, so we've gone for the race gloves. You want to talk about test days?
Yeah, I mean,
here we go.
There's some costings in it, but
okay,
it's a hard one. It's a business, obviously, I want to make money, and I get that.
Yeah.
But the only thing you can compare it to is a track day, really. So it's the next step up. So I can appreciate that when you go into a test day, it's then classed as competitive. So the insurance is going to go up. They need more officials and marshals, all those kinds of extras. So the price is going up, which is fair enough. I understand that the price of the event will go up. And MSV for a morning session, look at 180. For a full day, you're looking at 380. Which, understandable. I haven't got a problem with that whatsoever. The bit that I don't understand, maybe someone would like to enlighten the situation, is on the extra driver front. So if you're doing just a morning session, if you want any extra drivers, it's £50 per extra driver. If you're doing a whole day session, it's an extra £70 per driver. I mean, if the cost of, the car can only go out with one person at any one time, but why is there such a big costing for an extra driver?
You obviously get a giant golden wristband. No.
You do make a good. I mean,
maybe someone will let us know.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I do want to get Stuart Garland on the show because it'd be good to ask him if he knew any contacts at MSV that could sort of just ask a question. But it's a good point you raised because you're effectively paying an extra 70 quid for a wristband because you can't be on the track at the same time with another car. You're not paying for an extra car.
No. But I'm not. I don't. You're not insured by. Well, you are in your own insurance and things like that. But I don't see where I can understand maybe 15, 20 quid for an admin fee. If you want to charge that, I just don't understand where the whole extra money is. And it's the same with the garage price as well. On a track day, I think I didn't write it down. Is it 30 quid? Is it 15 quid?
It's about £30 for a garage.
30 quid, and then on a test day, it's 100 quid. The garage doesn't change. They're not quite understanding why it's jumps up to £100 on a test day.
There was certainly no buffet there.
There's no buffet. No.
There's no difference.
But it's just, I don't understand it. Not sure why.
But again, another money-saving tip for you is if you want to test your car, go do a track day. You just
can't competitively time your car all that.
No, you can't do that.
But you throw it in a comparison that Thruxton, you can have a test day for £210, but you get 3 20-minute sessions throughout the whole day.
And I know Thruxton is quite bad on. Yeah, but the downside of that, Thruxton is quite bad with noise as well. I think it's only 90 dB that can run it. Well, for the track days, I don't know whether test days is unrestricted.
That doesn't a track day or a test day. Your car's still going to sound the same.
Oh yeah, what I'm saying is 90 decibels. If you're in a race car doing a track day, chances are you're going to be over that.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're in the KA. There's no cherry bomb exhaust on the back of the KA, so you're all right.
The cam clatter is louder than the exhaust on that thing.
Not anymore. It's been fixed now.
No, I just mean in general.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mario Neophyto, I was told to never wash a race suit because of the fireproofing. Ben Rowe has actually replied to him, nonsense, I'm afraid there would be a lot of smelly races if that was the case. Everyone's smelly anyway at a racetrack. But I mean,
Mario, the label.
Yeah, I mean, Mario knows what he's talking about. I think there's going to be different experiences with different people. You do get a lot of wisdom passed down. Ben Rowe's also got a pet peeve. Paying for Lifeline or whoever to inspect at a great expense your extinguisher when a local fire safety company can do exactly the same job for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, it's true. There is. I think the rules have changed slightly on them, haven't they? If you haven't had them tested by, is it the same guy within 2 years or something like that?
Yeah.
And it has to go to an approved person. But yeah, it's an extinguisher still. Don't go taking it to your local fire brigade because they can't do anything. But there are people out there that can do it.
No, there are fire safety companies that obviously can fill them up with the same stuff. I would completely agree with that. Maxine Nichols has replied, track days are mostly sold out already and a lot are priced really high at the moment due to demand.
Yeah. But again, that goes back to Steph. But I know the problem is right now we're in a different situation where people are obviously trying to claw back earnings that they've obviously lost for the first 5 months of the year. I get the price hike there, but yeah, prices are going to shoot up considerably because of that. As where, previously people just pile money on top. It's business at the end of the day, isn't it? If nobody put a cut on the top, you wouldn't do it, would you? I get that side of it too.
Exactly.
That's fair enough. David Garside has commented on this. Looks like it's to do with the fire extinguishers, not with the MSA rules. It has to be supplier serviced, which, it's what we were referring to. I think the point we're trying to make is there are a lot of other fire safety companies out there that effectively do the same job, but because they didn't supply it, they'll be doing exactly the same thing and refilling it, but at a lower cost.
It's got to be signed for at the end of the day, hasn't it? So go to where it, go where it was supplied from. But yeah.
And there we go. Right, so we are going to move on, chaps. We have been going on for a bit today. We're behind schedule, but there's a lot of people interested.
Just so everybody knows, you did keep putting in the in our script, Rob. Keep it flowing. A lot to get through, yet you keep going off the subject. So
yes, I know, but a lot of people have been commenting in. This is as usual. Everyone's interested in the Club Racing UK podcast. It adds a bit of variation to it. I love it. So
it's good. It's good. Keep them coming.
Now with this, I haven't copied this directly from V8 Supercars, but I have. It's the top 10 shootout.
Yes.
What I have done.
Surely though, Rob, we needed a qualifying before the top 10 shootout.
Yes. Well, we've spent 2 weeks. We've spent 2 weeks doing the qualifying at great expense. What we did, ladies and gentlemen,
you deleted it.
I lost everything during the week while I was monkey with a spanner comes to mind on my computer. So what we've done is I have got a spreadsheet of every race series, club racing series in the country that I could think of. I've been doing loads of research in my spare time as to get costs. And basically, I've laid it out as this. So I've got an average car price. So I've been on Race Cars Direct and looked at lots of shiny race cars and the like. And what I've basically gone with is we've picked the 10 cheapest series to race in pounds per minute on the track. And we've basically done it over one meeting.
Yeah.
One meeting. So average compete car price, including the class system as well. If it turns out that the class system, Class C wins the championship, you can have the cost of what it takes to upkeep that car. So what I've done it is I've priced a set of pads front and rear, a set of tyres, the registration and entry fee for one round, registration fee for the year because I keep it fair, and fuel for that one meeting. Okay. What I've also done, we've got a lot of endurance series as well. So I've picked the meeting that has the shortest amount of track time to keep it fair for everyone. I am aware that with the endurance stuff, there's a lot of longer rounds. We've got 24-hour races, 12 hours and such. Okay. Yeah. We've tried the best we could to get all series in the UK. Myself and Nick have been contacting a lot of people. Yeah. However, not all were able to get back to us. And on some websites, the information was not readily available. I did try. What we're going to do, the sheet that I've got, we're going to put it up on the website and such. We're going to keep updating that database as something for people to look at. By all means, if you look at it and you want people to get in touch, then do so with the costs. Yeah. So without further ado, we're going to start at number one.
Just wait. One thing I want to say is I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has contributed to this list because it's a long list. I've been on the phone.
So many people we messaged.
I've been on the phone to quite a lot of people today and over the last 2 weeks. So for everybody who I have annoyed and asked, how long's a piece of string question, I appreciate your time with this. We should also point out that when you say about average car costs, this is including some cars freshly built. So they're not second-hand cars. You can have cars built as well for the cost, roughly.
Yeah. Right, Nick, take it away with number one when you're ready.
Okay, so number one on our list is the C1 series. Oh, Rob's disappeared. There you go. So nice, pretty car there. Average car costs between £5 and £7 grand. Registration fee is £50. The championship fee, which is with the Bark, is £135. Entry fee £900, and that's for a 3-hour race. Set of tyres is about £180. Set of brake pads are control pads at £280. Fuel, roughly, obviously, depending on the length of the race, is between £100 to £1,000. Obviously, a 24-hour race is going to be for ages. So to work that out, go on. What are you shaking your finger at?
I was going to say with the fuel, I basically took that for a 3-hour race at about the £200 mark.
Yeah. So again, obviously, hopefully everyone can appreciate this is average. You can spend more than this if you want to. You could probably cost it down a little bit if you need to as well. Obviously, some people can run tyres until they're bowled, brake pads until they're on the metal. This is kind of in the middle for everyone. So the total for that is £9.69 per minute that you get on the track. So
of how we calculated it.
That's of how we calculate. So £9.69 a minute on track. So
and that's just one person. And with
that's
that
for one person,
that's for one person. If in theory, if one person was paying the bill, if you had 3 blokes that were sharing the cost of that, or 2 blokes, that's even less.
It'd be third. Yeah, be third. Yeah.
And we move on to number 2. So this is the 116 trophy. Nick's had a go on one of these cars. It was great fun for you.
I was very fortunate to win a test day with the 40/40 motorsport team. Jez Banks and his guys, very well prepared car, and it was tons of fun actually at Brands Hatch.
There we go. So the registration,
very popular series as well by look at it.
It looks like it's blown up massively, isn't it?
And you'll see why in a minute.
So the registration fee, you pay £25 to the 750 Motor Club, that's your membership, and you pay £75 per driver. Normally they have 2 or 3 drivers, I believe, isn't it, Nick? They're looking to go for this year.
Yeah, so I spoke to Jez earlier on, and you can actually run it on your own if you want to.
Right.
And he was saying about 20% of the grid run the car on their own. You've still got to do pit stops. You have to do mandatory 60-second pit stops. So it's about 20% of the people are doing that. About 40% are running 2 people. 40% are running 3 people. Some may even run 4, but obviously the more people you run, the less track time you get. So
Ben Rowe has made a comment. Ben, we're going to come back to you after number 3 because I think Nick and Stefan need to explain something to you. So, championship fee is £100 per driver with the 116 trophy. The entrance fee is £495 per car.
That's per the car, yeah.
Yeah. Set of tyres, £260. That's not bad as well. They're the Nankang road tyres, aren't they? They're the
and Jez said again, they're last year a season, obviously rotating around, looking after them. Some people will drive it harder, some people will drive it softer. So again, in the middle-ish.
Yeah, set of brake pads are around the £120 mark. And again, that's open.
That's open. So again, you could buy bog standard road going brake pads if you wanted to, or you could go and spend, I know, hundreds of quid on EBC, Mintex, whatever. Yeah. So that's open to preference. So we've gone in the middle again with about 120 for a good set of pads.
And he's spending about the £70 mark on fuel.
Yeah, about that for a week, about that for a race meeting.
Okay, and with all that total down divided by the minutes that you go racing, that's £11.
Yeah.
And again, that's one bloke footing the bill. But what I have put into that cost is you're paying for 2 driver spots. So effectively, you can cut that in half straight away, £5.50 if you really wanted to, £5.50 a minute each person.
Yeah, and again, if you go for 3 people, even less.
We go on to number 3. And I know you're both going to like this. I like it as well. It's a fantastic championship. The Enduro KA series done by MSV.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, nice photo.
Oh, look at that.
Look at those legs.
Look at little old Cara.
So the registration fee for this series is 150 quid. The entry fee is between 600 to 1,500 quid. A set of tyres is 240 quid. Set of brake pads is 140 quid plus. I think it's a set of bog standard ones for the rear. No, it's shoes on the rear, isn't it? So, it's just on my extra notes here. Fuel is about 100 quid because when I took the Enduro KA into account, I decided to go with the 4 sprint races you have at Full Power Live, which is 4 20-minute sprints, so 80 minutes. So what I've done is divided that to £15.37 for one driver. If you divide that between 3 drivers, say Nick Holmes, Stefan Marsh, Matt Hibbard, that's £5.2 per person.
Yep.
For the other races, the longer distance races, you're looking at £8 a minute.
So that actually makes it.
Stefan.
Just in case people get a bit antsy later, it probably wouldn't cost 100 quid on fuel for the sprint races, just to let you know.
It probably wouldn't, to be honest. And Stuart Garland is watching. Hello, Stuart. Hope you're well.
Hi, Stuart.
We want to talk to you about coming on the podcast very soon. You're a man in the know and you run some great championships, so we'll be in contact. With that,
Rob,
yes.
would you like to leave and get a room with Stuart?
That's your reply right there.
Yeah.
He does run some bloody good championships, a lot of which one we participate in and the other 3 we constantly watch while we're there. So it goes without saying. But Ben Rowe has put the comment, worth noting, it might be cheaper to race a C1 or a KA than an MX-5 or an MR2. But no offence, what do you think would be more dynamically satisfying, shall we say, ... Well, Ben, we thought that as well. But Nick, I think, is about to change your mind.
Wait. No. Give me a minute. Mum!
Mum!
I'm busy. Oh, God. Me mum's rocked up with a present for me for our anniversary.
This is awkward. Get her on. There she is.
Hello.
Ever the professionals.
Are you online?
I'm in the middle of my podcast, Mother. Thank you. Bye-bye. I come out here to hide. Oh, Jesus.
Fantastic. Okay, Ben. Guys, do you want to take it away with, okay, so Ben's basically said the cost may be cheaper, but it won't be as exciting. What do you guys say to that?
Definitely not the case. I've raced several cars in my career. Granted, the KAs are slow. Okay, they are. They're 69 brake horsepower on their own, nothing special. But when you are on a grid with 25 plus of them, door to door, it's brilliant. You know, it isn't loud, it isn't obnoxious. It's not like a proper race car fire breathing, you know, M3s or whatever. It isn't that. You're missing the point. If that's what you want, by all means, go for it. But if you want proper, close, door to door racing
at a budget,
Enduro KA.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Obviously, if you want super quick Civic Type R's, if you want things like that, they're readily available.
And we'll move on. We will move on to that with number 4 just quickly. A lot of people are loving the fact that Nick's mum rocked up in the middle of the podcast. Pescara Productions says, if it is wet, you will spend as much time sideways in a C1 as you would in an MR2 or an MX5.
Yeah.
Very true.
Mervyn Beckett has said, Nick, you still haven't had a go in my Civic. Merv, have you got panel beaters? You're going to need them.
He is a panel beater. So if I do break it, he's the man to fix it.
Oh, there we go. You sorted them, Merv.
Perfect partnership right there.
Listen, we need to end this now. Let's draw a line under this. All right? No one needs to hear this every podcast. I'm a good driver. I do not crash cars very often.
Just here and there.
Where are the crickets? Okay, so we move on to number 4. We move on to number 4, the 750 Club Enduro. With the costs for this, I bear it in mind that the championship winner and the top 3 were in class B and C. They weren't right up at the front in the fire-breathing monsters. They were towards the back. Doesn't matter if you've got a multi-class championship like Club Enduro, you can spend less money and still win things.
Yeah.
So with that, registration fee, your 25 quid for the 750 Motor Club plus £160. Your entry fee varies between 600 and 750 quid. Set of tyres was about 500. You can get cheaper. You can, again, with this, it varies with the size.
Yeah. And your car and your brake horse.
So there will be people coming back to me saying, no, you can get cheaper or you can never get it at that price. That's what came back to me from someone that was running that series. Set of brake pads, 160 quid they ran with. And that was a control pad from, I think it was an MX5 that they ran with another series.
Yeah.
So fuel is another 150. So you total that up and then you divide it between the minutes you get on track, and that's about £13.29.
That's good. And to be honest, I think the proof's in the pudding, really. The Club Enduro is a very well filled out championship. It's certainly one that Matt and Steph are looking at, themselves.
Yeah, straight away. And the bit that one of the first things you said to me, Stefan, that appealed to you guys was the track time for your bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what you kind of see. I think some of the other championships are starting to move over to have, if they're having a double header on a weekend, one will be 20 minutes, the other would be a 40-minute, because I think they're kind of seeing this and starting to adapt towards it a little bit. On that bit more time and that opportunities of a pit stop or a driver change.
Yeah. You can share the cost with people. If you have two, if you have 2 drivers, you're half the cost.
Number 5 and number 6 are kind of tied in together. You could also kind of add 2 more championships onto that, which is 750 Road Sports and the BRSCC Club Sport Trophy. So you've got 45 minute races there. You've got all sorts of different varied cars in those running to different class systems, but they're all actually costing the same. When I have people come back to me, the costs were kind of the same. So to run it down, The track day trophy came down to £8.23 per minute and £8.66 for the championship. So obviously you've got the bigger, faster cars at the front that are absolutely mental breathing horsepower, but you've also got the lighter, nimble cars towards the back that have got less power. I mean, they run predominantly on power to weight ratios as well. So, you know, so that covers number 5 and 6. Again, 2 great, fantastic championships, run really well, packed grids, power to weight. The racing's close. That's a lovely BMW 130 on the front there, run by Graves as well. So yeah, and it's racing that we've all watched this year while we've been running with the KAs as well, which is great.
Yeah, Rob, are you getting paid for these shout-outs?
If you are, where's our cut? I haven't seen any of this.
We're talking about costs. This is going 3 ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just get the details of that Swiss bank account. Number 7 is one that, before I carry on, Daniel Abbott, what about getting to the meeting and the cost? The problem is, Daniel, with saying that, it varies for everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely varies. Now, for me, I save money on that because I have a work van that I'm allowed to use for private use, and they're allowing me to tow my race car to meetings. I'm getting my B+C and everything like that.
Not anymore.
Yeah, well, not at the moment. But because I'm on the benefit in kind scheme, I can save money that way. Other people obviously spend a lot more money. Other people have lorries and transporters and a van with a trailer. I used to go with my Mondeo towing a trailer, and I used to keep in the back of it. I never had a hotel. But the problem is, if I added all these costs on, I would have to put so many variables into the mix.
Well, we as a team bought a trailer. Poor old Steph's van has to pull the KA everywhere, and any of our other cars, we rely on Steph to pull a trailer. Previously to us as a Club Racing UK team, previous years I've had to beg, borrow and steal from other people. Steve Kite from Misty took my car up for my first ever race. I've rented a van. Again, it's how long's a piece of string really with it. If you can get, some people could drive their cars to the races. It's just
Mario Neofito is a good example of that. He won the Pre-05 championship. He used to turn up in his car and kip in the back of Simon Ward's trailer.
I bet there's some stories there.
Yeah, exactly. John Lords, don't worry, my friend. We're coming to you. Look out for number 8. He's put. I get Enduro is cheaper. I'm sure you're coming on for the 15-minute races. I am getting on with it, Paul. Don't worry. So number 7, the Hyundai Coupe. We've come on to the Hyundai Coupe Cup. Something close to Nick's heart. The average cost of a car is about £5,000. There he is.
There it is.
The registration fee is £150. Entry fee is £410. Set of tyres. £91.20 a tyre. So I've added obviously that times 4. Set of brake pads, £81 for the front, £49 for the rears. You'll do 2 sets of front pads in a year. He's just put there as a note. And the fuel for a weekend is about £50 because it's a standard engine, isn't it? So
yeah, there's not a lot to the Hyundai engines, little 2-litre engine.
Exactly. That worked out with the sprint races, £18.71 a minute.
Yes. So what we should point out here, obviously, the format being a 15-minute quali to 15 to 20-minute races, obviously the price will hike because you're getting less seat time. This is why the endurance series are at the top of the list, and it's probably the reason the endurance series are actually happening, and the bigger and the longer 45-minute race series is because you save money with those. But look at this, number 7 on our top 10. This is top 10 in the UK. Is a standard 15-minute quali, 15-minute races, sprint racing, which everyone says is
it comes down to a series that has all the parts are controlled series with the same car, same everything.
Yeah,
racing. You can't go spend thousands of pounds on an engine. It keeps that cost down, but keeps the fun and the racing at its best level, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You watch again. There's other series available, and you'll see them. But the Hyundai Cups, 20+ cars on track at time, door to door for the entire 15 minutes. You haven't got someone disappearing up the road because they spent £50,000 on an engine build because you're not allowed to do it. So if you want door to door. I mean, if people want to spend thousands on a fire-breathing monster and just monster everyone, that's also available. But if you want door to door BTCC style racing, these are your ones.
Number 8, I've put Castle Combe Saloons. It kind of applies to, a few other similar regional championship series, tin tops and stuff like that. Castle Combe obviously came under that. They've got a lot of highly tuned cars near the front, but towards the back, they've got a lot of more standard cars. Again, I focus on that. Class C, Class D, the lower CC rates on the cars. So registration fee there is 99 quid. The entry fee, this is for 2 races this year, 20 minutes qualifying, 2 20-minute races that they've compacted, 350 quid. Set of tyres range between 400 and 500, depending on who got back to me. Set of brake pads around the 200 quid mark, depending on who I spoke to.
Depends on your car.
Yeah, and fuel was anything from 60 quid to 110. I've put 110 there. That's for one of the top guys at the front. When I sort of averaged everything that I got back out and I divided it by your track time, £19.31 per minute on track. That's not bad. A regional series, well supported, big crowds, fantastic. And we'll move on to the Castle Combe Racing Club in a later episode.
Yeah, we'll get them on board as well.
Literally anyone that's watching, we're thinking of any club racing series going at the moment. I've got episodes written everywhere. So we move on to number 9, Track Attack Race Club, the 206 Club. Big shout out, John Lord, Paul Rice, who are currently watching.
Look at that.
Ignore the Peugeot in the middle because that's quite a highly tuned Peugeot. But the 206s.
But the 206 is a lap in the 306, surely.
Well, you would think that, wouldn't you? But again, it's a well-run, put-together series by the Track Attack Race Club, now coming under their MSV banner for this year. Registration fee, 25 quid plus 150 quid. That's going by the website. Entry fee, 350 quid. Set of tyres, 400. Set of brake pads, 179. Fuel, £65. And that brings us to a grand total divided by the minutes of £19.48.
Yeah. Now,
but the best...
Go on.
Go on, Nick. What did you want to say?
So I spoke to Paul today. Obviously, I'm trying to butter him up and get it going one because they just look tons of fun. But he said
there's a surprise.
Wow.
There we go.
You don't ask
about yourself. You don't try and get me a seat, do you?
Hey.
Look.
Sorry, carry on, Nick. Carry on.
When you guys are faster than me, then maybe you'll get the seats. But I spoke to Paul, and he was actually saying £3,000 is all in, car fully built, and that includes the tyres. So although we put a set of tyres in there, for £3,000 you can have the car built with tyres, seat, fire extinguisher, everything ready to go. I don't think you can actually get a cheaper built car out there, if I'm honest. So I still think you can save. I think you can still save more than the £19.48. Obviously, the sprint race versus the endurance race is where the price hike is. But
yeah, I have made a cock up there. Paul Rice has come back to me. He said the tyres are about the 200 quid mark. I do apologise.
Robert.
So it could be cheaper. I apologise for that.
It will be cheaper. That series is the cheapest in the UK for a sprint race. If you want to go sprint racing, that's the cheapest series.
Number 10, we've already really covered this with Castle Combe Saloon. I put Castle Combe Hot Hatch, but around this mark, which was £19.81, I calculated that. I also had around that sort of cost the Type R Trophy with the 750 Motor Club, which is completely different. Still one make racing, absolutely everything as it should be. Champion of Brands Formula Ford 1600, that came up quite cheap. But again, it's single seaters and stuff like that. So
the thing is, we've done this top 10, but you get to 10, and then there's literally a massive, there's a huge range of championships within the £19. If you said £20 a minute, there's tons of series in there.
But basically, between number 10 and if I did 10 to 40. Chances are there's going to be as many championships as possible between the £20 a minute mark and the £21 a minute mark.
Yeah,
you really can
it starts to get to very minute costs between. And again, we should really do. We'll stress again that these open championships. So the likes of the 206, the Hyundais, and things like that, where they're a controlled championship. Obviously, the costs are very controlled. You can't spend it. These other ones, like the Castle Combe tin tops and hot hatches, where they're an open championship, you could spend thousands if you wanted to. So obviously, take ours with a little pinch of salt. I'll use the pre-03 Classic Touring Cars as an example. When I raced in 2018, there was people towards the front of the grid that have obviously well-established races, spending lots of money on their race cars, where little old me rocked up in my bag of poo Vauxhall Vectra with a standard engine. I still went racing for a fraction of the cost they were spending, so I was still on track. But if you want to be at the sharp end, some championships you do have to spend money, but not all championships.
Not all and with that, no. Of course, you had a chat with Stuart Kai earlier on, and he did make a good point to you in the fact that if you do have the money and you want to go and race a classic touring car and you want to go and race something a bit different, a Legend, a pickup truck, where you know that there's going to be costs and you're quite happy to pay that, do it. By all means, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But
we're certainly not saying spend this amount of money, and it doesn't all come down to cost. Some people have wider wallets than others. If you want, classic touring car Thunder, if you want unrestricted rules of fire-breathing Monaros and RS Cosworths and things like that, go and do that. But it comes with a cost.
Yeah, and the racing is still just as good.
Yeah,
but
it totally is.
And we will cover this in future podcasts. What we wanted to do with this episode is just get everything together and concentrate on how cost effective you can get it.
Yeah, and there is another thing I want to point out. We've not put it in the script, but I should put it out. When we put up, obviously talking about cost of motorsport, we are focusing on circuit racing as we are club racing UK. But we did have a lot of other people get in contact with us. So you've got like the UK modified, you race on like dirt ovals. You've got Formula G. You've got Time Attack. You've got all these other championships that aren't necessarily the circuit competitive racing that we solely focus on. You can still go and do motorsport related tomfoolery as such for even
ovals,
cheaper than
autograss,
autograss. Maybe even rallying. You could. There's such a broad amount of motorsport available. Obviously, we focus on the circuit, the competitive circuit market. That's what Club Racing UK solely focuses on. Even for someone who looks at circuit racing going, oh, that's what I want to do, then obviously these are the figures to go with. But if there's people out there going, I can't race anything. Banger racing, things like that. If you just want to get behind the wheel of a car and go competitive racing, there is even cheaper forms out there for you.
Well, I think that kind of sums it up, really. We will be covering again. We will be covering arrives and drives at a later date. Yes. We'll be covering a lot of the later date, as I say. The Club Racing UK podcast is here to stay, boys and girls. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Podcasts. What I want to do is move on very quickly to another top 10 shootout. Okay, we normally ask this to the guests, but today I'm going to ask Stefan Marsh.
Throw it at him.
Right, naturally aspirated or turbo?
Turbo.
Sprint or endurance?
Endurance.
Bacon or sausage?
Love the sausage.
I bet you do. Wet or dry?
Always in the dry.
So you like a dry sausage?
Love a dry sausage.
Would you fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Amazing question.
It is. Why are you thinking
probably
about
100 duck-sized horses.
Okay, Plato or Neil?
Plato.
Best position finish?
At third. Indy 500.
Front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive? You cut out then. Front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive?
Front Rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. Don't know. I've never raced a rear wheel drive car.
Yeah,
Or have one on track, so I can't really compare it.
Favorite race car?
What? Anyone?
Anyone?
Ah, that's a huge question.
It is.
I don't know. I'd still go with my classic, the RS500 Sierra Cosworth.
Fantastic. Good choice, that. Favorite track?
I don't know. Yeah, Cadwell was absolutely awesome to drive on. But I do love Brands. That is an awesome Brands indeed. Quality.
Good choice.
But
Good choice.
Cadwell, I don't know. Any track, love them all. Let's just go racing.
Last few comments. Mario's asked what the average cost per minute covering all club championships. Mario, I'm not going to lie. If we covered all of the championships going, you're looking at between the £19.5 a minute up to the sort of £35 a minute mark. But that's for the big series.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends what your flavour is. And again, like Nick's very well put earlier, if you want to go and race a classic touring car, go and do it because it's the best thing in the world.
Oh,
Stefan's just playing in the spinny chair.
You need to go a bit higher. You need to go a bit higher.
John Lord, Philip Lee have also made comments on grassroots racing, getting you racing for a little cost. Phil Lee put as well, it only covers the cost of circuit-based racing, as we said already. If you can handle ovals, it's a whole other conversation. I'm absolutely sure. Crispin Williamson says the cheapest way into car racing is the 206 Cup guaranteed. Yeah, it's in our top 10 for a reason, guys.
Yeah.
And finally, Paul Rice says, Nick is going out in my 206, but you bend it, you mend it.
Yes!
He will bend it. He definitely won't bend it.
So there we go. Stefan, to finish off, mate, can you just Yeah, he most likely won't, this sponging git. Stefan, can you just remind the ladies and gentlemen out there of our HRX competition?
Yeah, so it's going to be ending soon. We'll put the date up on the website and Facebook when we get there. But at the moment, it's £100 gift voucher for the winner from HRX. So all you got to do is head over to our website, www.proracinguk.co.uk. On the bottom, become a member. All you got to do is become a member, and you're instantly put into the competition to win the £100 HRX gift voucher. Plus, then you get use of all the companies of our partners, a discount, all the rest of it that comes with it, priority posting, and all that lovely goodness.
All that lovely goodness.
Thank you very much. Right, from myself, it just leaves me to conclude and say thank you to Ian Waterhouse, Elaine and Leon Von Swill of My Supercar Productions. Give my thanks to everyone watching this evening for all your lovely comments. We're already working on episode 5. We're going to be covering Motorsport Vision Racing in episode 5, 2 weeks' time on the 15th of June. Join us then, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Robert Lewis. He's been Nick Holmes. And the chap next to him has been Stefan Marsh. Good night. God bless.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, everyone.